We went to see and we were checking, you know, the heroin on the streets, and all of the heroin has fentanyl, the cocaine has fentanyl, everything has fentanyl, the meth has fentanyl.
Aimed at limiting the trade of substances from China's vast chemicals industry to drug cartels in Mexico.
Fentanyl is not coming from China. The precursors are coming from China, but it's being cooked here.
You just rode on top of the train? You just ride on top of the train? How long is that train?
For 3 days. In the Darien Gap, I share my food because you are eating in front of 1,200 people, and if you don't do it, possibly they will lynch you. They stay there because they couldn't cross them, and you know, the narcos started selling the drugs locally. A lot of people got hooked. You know, I've also the president of Mexico didn't like my program, and he showed it for 2 days in his morning show, saying that, you know, that it was a lie, that Mexico didn't produce fentanyl. The brother of the girl that I was following got killed, and they left the community and went up.
We cut through the partisan talking points. We're not interested in perpetuating fear. We're interested in seeking truth, hearing what's really going on America's borderland. Tell me about the death train.
The death train, it was very difficult. It was very dangerous as well. I remember not sleeping for several days, or just sleeping for 20 minutes.
So you just rode on top of the train? You just ride on top of the train? How long is that train?
For 3 days. The train goes for, I mean, you change trains, you know, but I was following this Honduran family. It was crazy. It was crazy because they were really young, with 2 kids, really young kids. And they were escaping violence because you know, something happened in their country of origin, and the brother of the girl that I was following got killed, and they left the community and went up with nothing, absolute nothing. But again, I follow, for example, that case, that guy, which had, you know, you looked at it and it's beautiful on the train, you know, the guy's going looking for a better future, you know, and at the end, you know, they arrived to the border, and Dunia, the woman, and the kids, you know, they crossed the border and they gave themselves to immigration. And then this guy, he tried to cross illegally, you know, and they were going to meet. And then months later, you know, I managed to contact them, and he had crossed, and they had met, and they were living, I think, in Mississippi or something, somewhere like that. But he was the bad case, you know. He was like the typical that, you know, when I look at his situation, I say, like, you know, I understand very well the people that don't want this kind of migration. I mean, he for some reason, you know, he was hooked on drugs. You know, when I met him, he was smoking ice, or I don't know what the hell. And then, you know, and she was alone with 2 kids, you know, trying to survive. And the husband, when the husband arrived, he just went off the rails in America. And she was left alone. And I was thinking of, you know, on the road, how nice, how they're taking care of each other, you know, a very young family, but whatever. But things changed, and if I was, you know, American immigration, I wouldn't want that guy inside my country.
Yeah, that's the type of guy we wouldn't want. He if we would have ran his fingerprints, we might have found a history of criminal activities or something.
Possibly, yes, because I mean, he didn't, and I tried to get a lot of information from him, but clearly, you know, my heart didn't tell me this is the guy that you can trust, you know. And with her, what I thought was, what a poor girl with 2 babies, and with this guy next to her, hopefully, things will work out. Because that's another thing that, for me, it is difficult. I don't help. In the Darien Gap, I share my food because you are eating in front of 1,200 people, and if you don't do it, possibly they will lynch you. Or if anything happens to you, they won't help. But a rule is I don't interfere with these guys. I don't pay a taxi. I don't pay a cent. I'm an observational. I'm an eye that is, just looking at what's happening in front of my camera, and that's what we try to do.
What is your next goal? You just said you're releasing a 4-part series that's about the Mormon families that have been massacred in northern Mexico.
Yeah.
I have a loose connection to that story. I used to live in Utah, and the church actually contacted me about consulting some of the border stuff because they were probably going to go in with the security team and pull out some of the other families. And so I know loosely about that story, but what are some other stories that you're really trying to dig into and something that you're heavily pursuing?
I've been doing a lot about fentanyl. I think that I just been in Tijuana filming the fentanyl epidemic in inside Mexico, not in the US.
Yeah.
And it was incredible to see that when actually the border was closed during the pandemic, and all these drugs were arriving to the border. They stayed there because they couldn't cross them, and the narcos started selling the drugs locally. A lot of people got hooked. I've also I've also spoken with people that said that actually the addicts in Tijuana were used as guinea pigs to measure the amount of fentanyl, because at the beginning people died like flies, and then it stopped. But we went to see, and we were checking, the heroin on the streets, and all of the heroin has fentanyl, the cocaine has fentanyl, everything has fentanyl, the meth has fentanyl. They've created this the Mexicans, they have a name. I mean, they have like 6 or 7 names for different, drugs, and all of them have fentanyl. And I say, why? Because, for example, with methamphetamine, I mean, you smoke that and you go up, and fentanyl brings you down. I mean, why would you put fentanyl in methamphetamine? And it's because it makes it more addictive. And I think that that is really sad. And
absolutely,
and I did a program about fentanyl in Sinaloa last year, and actually the president of Mexico didn't like my program, and he showed it for 2 days in his morning show, saying that that it was a lie, that Mexico didn't produce fentanyl, because we managed to get inside a fentanyl kitchen in Sinaloa. I wanted to prove, listen, fentanyl is not coming from China. The precursors are coming from China, but it's being cooked here. And it's the new kid on the block, and it's very easy to cook. And you just need a few things that you can buy on the Howard shop, plus the precursors that are coming through these ports. And that's what I said. He got really angry. And I think that, when we cannot speak about these subjects with an anesthetic, I think one needs to be really clear about this. And, and does it make me sad that the president of Mexico thinks that we're lying, and that, and that we have other interests and whatever? Nothing. Nobody's paying me. I'm doing my job as a journalist, and I can guarantee you now he accepts that fentanyl is being cooked in Mexico, and it's a massive problem. And why? Because anyone can do it. It's really easy. It's not like cooking cocaine, it's a lot easier than that. So, and that's a big problem.